4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And I'm Lovey.
And I got my holiday hair in.
That she does. And I hope you all have your holiday hair in too. I've been praying to God for mine. So
Whatever.
I'm hoping it comes
Last week
in.
I was looking kind of crazy. So, because you just kind of threw me off on the spot. You got to do a podcast. So,
Anyway. We welcome everybody back to the podcast. For those of you that have been rocking with us for a while, you know what it's all about. We're a couple that's been married for 28 plus years. Do you know that next month, in almost exactly 1 month, we will be married for 29 years.
That's a long time.
Long time. But we've been through a lot of different
Almost
things.
3 decades.
And so this podcast is about all things marriage and for those individuals in long-term committed relationships as well. And when I say we've been through some things, I mean, we went through a stabbing before we even got a chance to say I do.
Yeah, I didn't stab him, though. He's a stabbing. Yes.
Yeah. So her estranged ex actually broke into her home, forced his way into her home, attacked her. I defended her. We got into it, ended up getting stabbed through my heart. Mm-hmm. And we survived that, right? Stabbed through the heart, 2 open heart surgeries. And then we got to the altar and said, I do. After saying I do, after about 4 years.
Exactly 4 years.
Exactly 4 years at our anniversary dinner.
At Morton's while he was eating cream spinach or something like that.
Don't sound so excited.
I'm just saying it because I know you're going to say it. So
basically, she asked for a divorce.
I told him I wanted a divorce.
I was happy-go-lucky thinking everything was just fine, and it wasn't.
And it wasn't.
We had to go through some stuff in order to actually figure that part out. We did. I was about to move out, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. Had a U-Haul, had a down payment on an apartment, and then life struck us, and we had to come up with an alternative plan. It took us some time, but we did discover that we needed to become that couple that we needed in that moment. We did books, we did coaching, we did counseling, and it took time and a lot of prayer. And in all of that, we found our way back to each other. Not that we actually left. I mean, we were in the same house under the same roof, but we proverbially, I can't even say it right. Proverbially found ourselves back together. We all of a sudden, after all the work that we had put in, we were back and better than ever before. And that's when we decided that we needed to get some certifications. We needed to get the podcast. We needed to get out there and lift up the covenant of marriage. And that's what this podcast does. And today we're going to talk about, before we get there, what we're going to talk about is diversity, equity, and inclusion in your marriage and what that looks like. What does that really mean within the realm of your existing marriage or your existing relationship? But before we go there.
Oh, okay. My turn. So before we go there, we want to remind everyone that we are having our marriage. Oh, my God.
The 2026 Winter Ball and Marriage Conference. See, I gave her a shot. I gave her a shot to talk.
Dang it, I blew it.
You had one job.
I had one job. So it's February 6th and 7th. Tickets are on sale right now. You want to hurry up and get your tickets. It's going to be a lot of fun. Friday night is more like a date night. Denim, diamonds, and dancing. Saturday is where we do the nuts and bolts. We have a line of great speakers for y'all. So
It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a great lineup of speakers. By now, you should know who they are. If you're new to the podcast, go to marriedintocrazy.com. Click on Winter Ball, and you get to see the lineup of speakers. And when you go to look at the tickets and the pricing, all of that, you'll actually see the agenda, the proposed agenda for that. It is subject to change depending upon people's schedules, but it's all laid out for you. And within the next week, hopefully by the end of this week, we will have the links up for the hotel blocks as well. So there's a lot coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss it, and you do want to bring a couple that you hang out with. Also,
speaking of couple, there have been questions. The prices on the tickets are per couple. Okay. Not everyone, but there are some confusion. It does say per couple, but we just want to verify for y'all who still are asking. It's per couple.
Yeah, we like to joke around a lot, but per couple means per couple. That's two. Just messing with you. But hey, we look forward to seeing all of you there. But let's get into this. Let's get into what it means. Let me ask you, is there such a thing as diversity, equity, and inclusion in a marriage?
I mean, it should be.
Why?
Because diversity, equity, and inclusion. It says it right in that. Diversity, there's differences. We are different. Equity, meaning that I feel like equity, I looked up the actual term of equity, but when I think of equity, I think of what I have in stake, what I have invested in whatever the thing is that I have. And then inclusion, I want to make sure I'm included. So there will be some diversity, should be, because everyone's different. We should have equity because I have a high stake in my marriage. And also I want to make sure that I'm included.
So how do you define diversity in a marriage?
I thought I just
I think it goes beyond. Okay, you tell me.
No. You go, and I'll tell you.
No, I think there's diversity of thought because you come up. We both came up from different backgrounds, though. Oddly enough, we ran in the same neighborhoods but never met each other. Her brother and I knew a lot of the same people for a certain period of her life, but we had never met each other. But I think that even though we had proximity to a certain extent, we had diversity of upbringings that lent itself to how we operate, our preferences and tendencies.
So yeah, when I think of diversity, it means that we are not the same. There is a difference, right?
Okay.
But the thing, I think one of the problems maybe in some marriages with diversity is people see that the differences as problems or challenges instead of opportunities.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
More. Give me more.
Because if we're different, okay, so for example, our differences when we first got together, I'm an introvert. Lovey is an extrovert. That did create a challenge in our marriage just based on how he interacted with people, how I chose to interact with
at the supermarket.
People. Oh,
hey, how you doing? What's going on?
He would talk to everybody.
I love that
grocery
shirt.
store.
I'm a Steelers fan too.
And I'm just trying not to make eye contact. I don't want to talk to no one. And he's having full-on conversations. And then this is my wife, and he would drag me into the conversation. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So we would be in the car or we get home and we'd be discussing why he had a need to bring me into the conversation.
Discussing.
And he would always say,
that's a whole other term. But okay.
He would always say, well, it's not my fault that you're antisocial. And I'm like, I'm not antisocial. I just don't feel like I need to talk to everyone. So there was a learning opportunity for both of us. So I know what the expectations are, basically. So when we go somewhere together, I already know he's going to be talking, so make myself scarce.
No, but there's also diversity when it comes to culture as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of cultures that come together. Do you think just because, you're both African-American, what if you're not? What if you have different culture? Even within
the diaspora.
Yeah, right. The diaspora is massive. Mm-hmm. And so there's so many different traditions that come into play. And there's a diversity that should be embraced as well. Not seen as problems, but diversity. Look, we have a segment that's coming up in the new year where we're going to be talking about faith within marriages, right? Interfaith marriages, where you have the diversity of one person may be Catholic, another person may be Jewish. You have another person that may be Christian, another person may be Muslim, but they are married and they find ways to make it work. There's a diversity that's there. We're going to get into that more in the new year. But
there's a diversity when you talk even love languages.
Oh my goodness.
We don't have the same love languages. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. And all of these play in the fact that it's not that it's a challenge. It is an area of opportunity.
You can strengthen the relationship.
I agree. Now, what can you do to actually, I guess, see it as an opportunity, act as if it's an opportunity, is to be very inquisitive. And that's where the pillars of crazy come into play, where you start thinking about, okay, how can I be more compassionate? And again, compassion means that you're trying to see things from the other person's perspective. So rather than being like, well, this is the way we did it, and my family's just fine, and your family's crazy anyway, and I think we should do it our way. It could be like, that's interesting. I've never even thought about it from that perspective. Mm-hmm. Let me at least learn. Let me try and understand why you guys put raisins in your potato salad.
Wow.
She doesn't, by the way. She doesn't.
I was going to say, first of all.
No, but it's different things that you can actually do to take a step back to learn more. It's an opportunity to learn more about your spouse, and not just, how they do things, but why.
Why. Mm-hmm.
That all important why. You don't have to agree, but there's ways that you can find that middle ground and come together. And that's where diversity in marriage, and that's just one aspect of how diversity in marriage can actually show up. But what about equity? How does equity show up other than, he going to carry his weight, he going to bring a paycheck. Oh, she going to bring a paycheck. A lot of times when we talk about equity within relationships, I think sometimes, more times than not, it falls to the financial piece. Like everybody's going to carry their weight.
So kind of on that point, I feel like just from my perspective, when, like you say, he going to carry his, she's going to carry hers. I feel like maybe some people mix up equity with equality.
Ooh.
So we're equal. Because I don't know, I feel like you kind of spoke to that when you're talking about what he's going to do, what she's going to do, because I carry my weight, because equality. I want you to do the same thing that I'm doing.
Okay, you're teaching now. Come on. What else?
I just wanted to bring that up. You go first. I went first last time.
No, well, I think there is probably need for a distinction between equality and equity. And I think that when we're talking about equity is, for instance, if you're looking at stocks, or you can both put $100 into the stock market. You put an equal amount of money in, right? So I put $100 in, you put $100 in, but we chose different vehicles. I chose Google, you chose NVIDIA. That same $100 equal shares, so that's equality. The same amount of money that you put in will go further, have much more equity in one than the other. My $100 in NVIDIA would be off the charts. Now, it's a different equity that I would have within the company versus the equity that I would have over in, Google. Both great stocks. We both put in $100, but the value of each may actually change. And that's where the equity, I think, comes in. And I think sometimes when we're looking at equity, we need to be able to look at what we're putting into our relationships. And the equity means that we need to be able to have equal voice and opportunity to share our thoughts and what we do and how we have impact within our relationships. But we also have to acknowledge that, but they are the same. They hold the same value. And I think that's where it falls out. We need to have, because the example that I used with the stocks, there's an inequity in the value that is actually there, because of the same $100 went in, the equal amount of money was put in, but there's an inordinate amount of unbalance when it comes to the amount of equity that you end up having as far as it goes. But within a relationship, what I say should hold as much weight as what my spouse says as well. There needs to be that equity and the same amount of importance, impact, and respect that goes along with it.
I appreciate that. So remember I said I looked up what equity meant.
She was acting like,
the definition.
She put me out there to hang. And she had a definition in her back pocket.
I thought I said earlier, I got a definition. Anyway, so I couldn't remember all of it, so I wrote it down. The quality of being fair and just, especially in a way that takes account of and seeks to address existing inequalities.
Can you read that again? Slower?
The quality of being fair and just, especially in a way that takes account of and seeks to address existing inequalities.
Okay.
So, kind of to your point, because you talked about what the value, the stock or whatever. So, one thing that bringing up about equity, the part of being fair and just. So, being fair, fair is not being identical. It's not identical. That kind of goes, I feel like, along with talking about being equal, right? So you may, for your, the stock in the Yahoo or not Yahoo, but whatever your analogy was. So for myself, I may need more emotional support than you, but you need more of something else. You need more quiet time than I do.
Sexual contact.
Huh?
Sexual contact.
I
say we keep it real on the show. I'm like, hey.
So
that's my love language.
I think about.
Go ahead.
When I think of the equity, it not being identical, but there's a fairness, almost like you said. I think a trade-off or something. Not necessarily the identical, equal, whatever, but there is a trade-off of something. I need this a little bit more than you do, and you need that a little bit more than I do. But at the end of the day, are both of our needs being met? And do we both feel seen and heard? Because a lot of times in marriages, one of the things that we've noticed with the couples that we coach, a big challenge is one partner does not feel seen or heard. So when we talk about equity, maybe looking at it in that way of, what do you need more than what I need? I don't say more than, but what is it that you need? So that we're addressing where you feel like there is an inequality.
Right. And I think I like where you're going with that, because it's, you talk about the 5 love languages. We talk about, there's so many different things that we can discuss, personalities, traits. There is an inequality or an inequity when it comes to the way that certain things should be addressed, because you don't need as much physical touch as I need. Right. I don't need stuff done for me, acts of service, as much as you do. We place different weights on those particular love languages. One is no better than the other. It's just that fair and just system. It's like you justly need to have certain needs met, as do I. And we just have to put forth that effort. I think that where we're talking about equity, diversity, and the inclusion piece is that you said everybody at the end of the day needs to feel heard and seen. That's a part of the inclusion, right? I need to be included. I need to know that as I'm sharing my voice, as I'm doing certain things, that you have taken the time to put eyes and ears on me and hear me as well. So I think that this all really ties in really nicely. And I like that we were talking about love language, because I think that's a great example. But that inclusiveness needs to know that, okay, I'm going to meet your needs, not because it's a tit for tat and I want to make sure that I'm addressing these needs because, that's what she needs. I have to have an intense desire to want to meet those needs as well.
I agree with that. And I feel like you have to have an intense desire to want to meet those needs without an expectation that something is going to be returned to you. So that, for me, that's you being authentic, not you looking for reciprocity.
I love that. No, that's real. And I immediately we come back to it so often, is that quote from Inky, to be invested in the process without being emotionally tied to the outcome. To be invested in the process and the journey of loving each other, however we each need to be loved, without having an expectation for an outcome. Well, if I love you above and beyond and do this, then I know that we're going to have sex. Or I know that, you're going to give me what I want for Christmas. Or I know that, at the end of the day, you're going to, buy a car or whatever, whatever that is.
Whatever
like
I'm
you
looking
said,
for. Mm-hmm.
There's no expectation at the end. It's just we're doing it for the sake of the love. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's really cool. So I'm curious for all the people that are listening right now. I normally don't do this, but I would say if you're listening to this as a couple, pause right now. Well, not right now. Wait till I say something. But take a moment and pause and have a conversation about, do I feel like there's inclusion within our relationship? Do I feel like every room that we walk into, we're walking into that room equally? Right? And I know some of this is metaphorical. And I'm not just talking about when you're around this is probably a good topic. Not just now, holiday season, when we walk over to somebody's in-laws, are we walking in? I don't care if you grew up here or not. Are we walking in as equals? Or do we have that equality, that equity, in our marriage to where that we carry the same weight when we walk in? And if you don't, why not? Hmm. And when we go into these spaces, is my uniqueness the diversity that I bring to this marriage? Because rarely do we marry the same. A lot of times we marry the opposite, or there's some nuances where we complete each other. Is that diversity of thought, that diversity of experience, my quirkiness, all these different things, is that respected? Not just by you, but also by your family. And will you protect me and stand in the gap if my differences stand out enough that means everything to you, but they question it? Are you willing to stand in the gap and protect me? I think that these are things that need to be discussed around this time. So go ahead, hit pause for a second. I'll give you 1 minute and have that discussion. Okay, you're back.
I didn't even get to do my whole thing.
No, but I think that these are so many different ways that these discussions around diversity, equity, and inclusion should come up in the relationship. Mm-hmm. Snooks was a diversity hire.
Wow.
No, I'm just playing.
I was. No.
No, and honestly.
Wait, so are we not going to do inclusion? I know you did it.
I just touched a bit. No,
okay.
We can do inclusion.
Okay.
We can do inclusion. I was just saying that Snooks was a diversity hire because I need someone, and I think we all do. Each and one of your spouses should be a diversity hire because you're trying to fill the gaps, the holes that exist in your life.
Hold on. You say each one of your spouses? Like you have more than one?
Didn't I tell you we was going to Dubai? We're moving to Dubai. Please, okay. I can't handle one of you. I don't need
I always
two,
tell
three.
your other wife I said hi, but okay.
Nah, my mental space would not be good.
Whatever.
Okay, but no. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper into inclusion.
Mm-hmm. So inclusion. I mean, I feel like the word is self-explanatory. Am I being included? Do I feel like I'm kind of on the same thing being heard when there are decisions to be made? Am I included in that? Do you think about me? Does my opinion matter, or you just kind of gonna do your own thing?
Well, and I think that there's a part of inclusivity that we don't discuss as often, and I think we should. And that's that. Are you including and taking into consideration my vulnerability as well? You know, there's I made a note and I'm trying to find it. It's like, you know, when we're sharing our deepest fears, our insecurities, our quirks, all vulnerabilities, when we're being truly vulnerable, there is amount of inclusivity that it's almost like there's like this shadow. When we talk about inclusion, you know, there's all the things at the top line. You know, I want to make sure I'm heard, that I have a voice, all those things. But what about the things that aren't necessarily voiced? They're more about whispers. We don't say it with a loud voice, but we talk about the things that I'm scared of, the hurts that I've had in the past, the fears that I have about our future and where we're going and our security. And maybe the quirks. Maybe I am quirky. Maybe I am a little corny here and there. These things that I love to share with my spouse. Are those things included when you said I do? I do take all of this in, and I will love and protect for all of eternity. Is that there?
Oh, I mean, I agree with that. I like that perspective, because when you talk about the vulnerabilities, it's a safe space. It's a space. Did I say it?
Safe space.
Is it a safe space for your spouse to be able to express themselves? Sometimes people don't say anything for fear of backlash.
True.
So,
well, and when we're talking about DEI in marriages,
don't say DEI.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes, thank you.
Within the marriage space, if not everybody has children or even desire to have children, but if you do have children, just recognize that you are the model for how a relationship should be acted out in the future. Your kids are watching. And if you don't have kids, your nieces and nephews, or somebody is some young human being is watching how you interact with each other. Mm-hmm. And not only that, by having this diversity, equity, and inclusion within your relationship, it creates a space for creative problem solving as well. Because we do things differently, because there is a diversity of thought, because we do approach things from a different perspective, because you might, on any given day, I might only have, on a scale of 1 to 5, when it comes to my mental ability, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, I might only be able to give a 3. But you might be that one that can actually, that's you're fully charged. That's true. You're able to put in 5. That equability when it comes to that, and that inclusiveness, knowing that you've heard my whispers, you've heard my fears and all of that. Taking all of that into consideration gives us the power and the strength and the superpower, if you will, of being able to approach certain problems that we all face differently and uniquely because of that diversity, equity, inclusion that we're able to embrace within our relationships.
Mm-hmm. So when I think about the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's like you said earlier about diversity, culture, and how people are raised. When there is a challenge, is it based on a disagreement, or is it about a difference? We had differences in how we did things, and we also had disagreements. So the disagreement was not, we have to understand that there is a difference between a difference and a disagreement. A difference is culture, how you were raised, how you were brought up. A disagreement, I feel like, is about how to get to point A to point B. How are we going to spend the money or whatever?
No, it's a good point. There's a lot that needs to be considered when we're discussing this. And I just think that going into the new year, 2026, there are a lot of changes that are taking place in this world. And we all know that diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace and everywhere else has been discussed ad nauseum. And it's going to be a continued conversation to a certain extent.
Anyway.
And I think that there is space for us to have that same conversation on a more personal level within each of our homes as well, to recognize that it is a strength. And it's the strength that you actually create within your home. That strength is what you carry into your workplaces, into your careers, into your businesses, into your communities, to your neighborhoods. So let's really, over the course of the next several weeks, really, I guess, double down on the diversity, the equity, and the inclusion that you create within your home.
So I did write some questions down. I feel like this is some I don't want to say takeaways, but something that you all can do. We're big on the marriage check-ins, checking in.
Yes,
so
yes.
Here's a diversity, equity, and inclusion marriage check-in. So for diversity, you could ask each other. What is one difference you noticed this week?
Okay.
So, equity.
When you say what difference? Let me.
What is one difference you noticed this week? Like the difference between us.
Okay. How we do things differently.
Yeah. Equity. Where do you need me to rebalance?
Ooh, I love that.
So, I mean, a lot of times we don't say that on our check-ins. We were like, "Oh, are you good? What do you need?" Blah blah blah. But putting a difference, taking it further. Where do you need me to rebalance?
Rebalance.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And
hold on.
Okay.
And don't just be surface level with these questions. Go deeper. Make sure you have time and a allotted amount of time to sit down and have this conversation. Don't be like, "Oh no, I'm good. Knowing that, you know what, if I sat here and thought about it, I could probably identify something. Take the time to do that.
Mm-hmm. And last one, inclusion. Did both of you feel heard and valued?
Again, take your time with it.
Mm-hmm. So these are good conversations to have with your partner, with your spouse.
Absolutely. Hey, look, we enjoy sitting down and sharing this with you. If you feel like something in this conversation resonated with you, or you know of somebody like, ooh, so-and-so should have heard this. We hear that all the time. Like, oh, I sent your episode over to a friend of mine because we just had this conversation. Mm-hmm. Well, we ask that you do that. Refer a friend. As a matter of fact, if you haven't already gone and subscribed to the Married into Crazy podcast, please go ahead and do that. That's when we can increase the volume, if you will, turn it up a little bit so we can actually have a diverse group of individuals participating in the conversation. And just so you know, going into 2026, we're going to mix things up a little bit. The little guy, Isaiah, is actually requiring more and more of our time, and he's getting involved in activities and so forth. So we're really refocusing, rebalancing where we need to spend our time, what is most important that God is, God's blessings that he's given us. And so we're going to be dialing back. So rather than having a podcast every week, we're going to be going to every 2 weeks. I know we said this about a year or so ago. We tried it, and then the workaholic in me jumped back in. But no, it's time. We're going to be doing one every other week, and that cadence will begin in the new year. But it's still going to be great conversations. We're still going to bring you some amazing couples, some amazing subject matter experts, like the speakers that we're going to have at the Married into Crazy Winter Ball and Marriage Conference. We hope to see you there. And until the next time.
Wait a minute. I thought there was something else. Maybe not. Okay. Until the next time, be blessed.
Be blessed. See what I go through? Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.